Got it. Yep, done it. Well, good morning, everybody. Hello, Alicia. Wow, I love that. Good, good. I can't even talk to you. Look at all those credits. Wow, I feel very, wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. You should bow toward this. I mean,
I'm gonna go towards you. Anyway, it's great to be back here, and I just wanted to just take a moment to introduce everybody to uh, my wonderful creative partner, my wonderful friend, right? Alicia Datner, who I always say Alicia, but saying as if I'm the only person who says Alicia, and because we're talking to a bunch of people who are going to watch and want to work with Alicia, I will say Alicia as best as I can.
Alicia.
Alicia, oh God, is that you? Anyway, I just want to say, if I could just talk for a moment, that I've known Alicia for, I think probably about 8 or 9 years now. And we've had an amazingly open and challenging and beautiful creative process together. Um, Alicia was my student, and we're still doing that. And I feel like I'm her student. And I've been privileged to work with her on any number of her wonderful performances. I just worked with her in LA recently on her pilot, and I've directed a show with her in New York, and we've done incredible things. And we're just soul spirits, lovely spirits. I am so happy to know this woman. Her intelligence is exquisite. Her humanity, the way she loves the world and doesn't put up with nonsense is exquisite. And to be able to do this within the realm of love and within the realm of outrageously bold humor, you know, uh, is pretty extraordinary. So, Alicia, welcome.
Oh, Tom. Well, I am so honored to be here with you. It's just, I feel blessed by our friendship. Like, I feel there is such a mutual respect and love between us, such an honoring and also playfulness. And, as my teacher, and you are, I, what I love about how you work with people is you see their brilliance. Like that's the eyes you put on, the glasses you look through. It's like, how is this person fascinating and wonderful and beautiful? And how can I let them experience that in themselves? And and how can I let them know when they're not on track? Because you see so deeply. You it's like you accept people for however they're doing it. You're not like, why do I have to be around you? You're like, oh, here's a way. Like
Why do
here's
I have to be around? Yeah.
but you're such a beautiful teacher and director, and have such a capacity to invite something new and really invite us into the mystery. And I think that is, your greatest teaching in a way is standing in the mystery and in inviting people to take the next step with you, and really in the not knowing, which is the such a sacred space. And I think that's why we love you so much, is because you're so gentle and so open in that invitation.
Alicia, thank you. I can hardly comprehend what you're saying. It's exactly what I would love to be. We're all trying to take real mistakes, but it is. I think that our friendship is extraordinary because I think our friendship does, as much as it exists in the unknown, it exists in the known, rather, it does exist in the unknown. And I think also at this time in history where right now, right? Even though you're in LA and I'm in San Francisco and the wonderful Mokshad producers in India, we all are sharing the unknown. It's tough. And
And we know less than we've ever known.
exactly, yeah. And uh, so therefore, I mean, I think that's one of the things that I love about your work is that you go the distance. You more and more I've seen your work, and I really am hoping that all those people who are watching are going to just jump in and want to work with this woman, Alicia. And she's doing some amazing things, which she'll tell you about later. What's amazing about it is that Alicia takes the chance to be unpopular, to say what has to be said, to humility, and and
It's
and
humiliation.
and quite a bit of humiliation. It's true, though, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
very humbling, humiliating thing to be a performer, to be an actor, to be a
Yeah.
teacher.
To say
Um,
something that could be wrong or to expose something about yourself that's incredibly vulnerable.
yeah, I think it'd be really interesting if you could just maybe, rather than me talk about you, uh, give us all, the sense of how you came to this. I mean, I've got a pretty good idea because we worked so hard together with it, but how have you come to this point and where are you going creatively?
When you
Um,
when you say this point, which
right now, in this very moment in time,
yeah,
right
uh,
now.
right now, how did I get here and where am I going? That's how to really focus that question. Well, this is crazy, but I just heard I had a Vedic astrology reading, and she said that from ages 7 until 25, I was in this particular period, and I think it had to do with Jupiter that was like that is like expansive. And I had and not just expansive, but like a rocket ship. And
Uh,
and it like suddenly everything clicked because it's like I felt this rocket ship of like this conflagration of a desire to make the earth a better place as it's seeing the injustice and the nonsense of how things are run, as well as the um, desire for peace in the world. I had a sort of messianic feeling that I was supposed to save the world and create peace in the Middle East. And do that with comedy somehow. So, the hilarity of like me thinking like I'm going to do something impossible, like how to make your life the most difficult it can possibly be and make yourself the most miserable you can possibly be is just set out to do an impossible goal for your life purpose. So I just found that hilarious. And then there's this age that shifts and I go into Saturn at 25. And it actually just makes so much sense of like, oh, that's why I kind of lost that oomph, you know? And it's such a relief. Um, because that was a very high expectation for a very dysfunctional, sweet human to
mhm,
have. And there was a decade or two of dissolution and disillusion,
mhm,
uh, and walking into the mystery and um, releasing the idea that I needed to become anything or anyone, and searching for what brings me joy. And what brings me joy is, in fact, the same thing that I said I wanted to do in the first place, which is be on stage
mhm.
find the spontaneous magical moments with myself and others, that the things that tickle me and the things that frustrate me, and be understood and be seen, and have that expression touch the touch touch the everything
Yeah. Yeah.
together.
Yeah. I know. I think the thing too, and it's touching what is a great. I love the pause of touching what. What is it? Is it touching the fabric of the sky? Is it touching the fabric of the universe? Is it touching the most inner part of ourselves? It's well, what are is that? And it's so
It's touching, it's touching the unity, or not the unity, but it's touching the space where there is no you and no me.
right. It's so because I've seen so much of your work, and because I've rehearsed and developed with you so much of your work, and when it works, that time a few months ago in the marsh where everyone was so entirely and completely with you, your whole audience was absorbed in the unknown. We were able to say, "What the fuck? We know nothing here. We know nothing." And in the knowing nothing, it was
And
hilarious.
we are happy.
And we were happy. And because we were willing to say what we don't know,
Yeah.
somehow that unity that took place, the spirituality within all that hilarious, beautiful, rude comedy, the purity of the spirituality within that just permeated through everybody in that audience. And everybody in that audience for a moment was transformed because they were able to say, and I think this is what you can do, they were able to voice and to hear, well, they were able to hear their own voices in terms of what was troubling them
Yeah.
and actually say it, but to say it within the place of humor. And I mean, we know how close, I mean, humor comes from a place of great truth. And to allow that truth to float through the air and float through everybody. All these people in that audience of all, you know, Arabs and Jews and Russians and Ukrainians and Canadians, even Canadians, right?
Canadians and Americans.
We're able to, I believe, touch something that was very spiritual. And that's a beautiful thing. And so, how do we associate something that's very spiritual? I mean, for want of a better word, because that's kind of an overused word, with your art? Because I do believe that's where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like bringing the sky to the ground and the ground to the sky, and uniting the sacred and the profane, and letting it all be like, all of it is spiritual, sitting on the toilet is spiritual, being in digging in the dirt is spiritual, making love is spiritual, like, that it's all, we all have, every moment is an opportunity um to make to make this moment the best it can be.
Absolutely. I think that that's
Ultimate.
absolutely true. And I think we're at a moment too in time in your work, in my work, and certainly with students. And I think one of the wonderful things about coming and studying with you, and I'm really encouraging the people that I work with to come in and study with you, is that it isn't any longer simply about seeing. We see, and we judge. We open our eyes and we judge and we see. But it's about being seen. And I think that how do you feel on stage when you're seen? I mean, that is a very scary process. How do I feel as a teacher when I am seen? I cannot teach and see students and see those shadows in people unless I'm willing to be seen. And it's taken a lifetime. I am so much older than you. And I'm so much more advanced. So,
So much wiser.
so much older. Why is it taking all this time to kind of realize something so simple? That's what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
slow. I'm a slow person.
But I think, it's true. It's like, I mean, it's like Rilke, it says it takes a lifetime to learn how to love, how to
Yeah.
be in a relationship, or, and and that um, rather than answer the questions or try to find the answers, let's just love the questions for now.
Exactly. Okay, so here's a question. You have you have an audience. You have audiences all over North America, all over the world. I mean, you've done it in Bali. You've had audiences everywhere, and you have students everywhere. Um, what is the difference when you think about having an audience and having a student? What's the difference in terms of the sensation of where you are, what you hope for?
Mm.
What
Wow,
is
really interesting question. Yeah, I think I feel it's just a very different mode that I notice. Um, I mean, with both, I'm in service. I'm in service of the audience,
Mhm.
and I'm in service of my students. But gosh, I think it's more like when I'm in front of an audience, I'm letting myself be seen even more.
Yeah.
Um, it's like I'm up here to for you to see me and to be a mirror for you. And with students, I think I'm more holding space for them to see themselves rather than see me. And then seeing me as I use my experiences and on stage as an instrument to show like, oh, for example, here's an experience I had and this is what it was like, and kind of just let myself, I don't know, it's there's a very mother nurturing kind of, yeah, I think I'm more like mothering when I'm teaching, and I think I'm more like maiden when I'm performing. Maiden and maybe even crone.
That was so gorgeous. I love that. Really. Okay. How could you not want to work with this woman? Right? Woman, crone, maiden. Really beautiful. It's the whole thing about being seen. I mean, I think that I was very fortunate because I was either going to be like I think probably a street person and I got picked up very young as an actor, 15. I was working as an actor. I was 15 to 24. I never stopped working as an actor. I was flown all over the place working as an actor, right? But there was something really wrong. I mean, I got to that point where, I mean, I loved rehearsal, I loved investigation, but I was terrified of being seen. I didn't like actually being seen on a stage. And yet people kept casting me, right? So I stopped. But now I'm in my 70s and I'm ready to be seen again. It takes a long time.
I'm so curious, Tom. Do you think we're seen even when we're scared of being seen? Do you think people see us? Do you think people see our mask? Do you think people see the fear of being seen? Like you were cast so much in that
Mhm.
time. What were people seeing? Were they fooled by you, or did they love something about how you were afraid of being
Well,
seen? Like,
I think that I think that they felt the complexity and they knew something that I didn't know. And an audience must always know something that you don't know. Right? That's sort of like a beautiful relationship. I mean, you know something with the artist, so I think that I just did not have. I'm ready now, right? I was afraid, and it was, and instead of being brave, I just fell to the fear, right? And you know that that basically happens. Um, and so
well, I don't know. I wouldn't, I mean, I don't know if you're putting yourself down at all. I think there's something actually really beautiful about listening to the fear. If you're like, wow, this is scary, and you're on stage or on camera in big productions and getting paid, like that's a lot of pressure for a part that is afraid.
yes,
So
yeah.
I think
I mean,
that
that's
you
true.
really honoring that fear is good rather than just being brave and saying, I should have just gotten out there. Like I think, you know, there's so much, our parts have wisdom.
Yes, they do. And I think that in many ways, what I'm saying on a very personal level, because you caught me, is yeah, I don't, I'm confused. It's like, yeah, so I was, you're in a West End show and you're 22 and you do all of these things. And I think that um, I made excuses for myself and therefore left, right? Instead of allowing that because so here I am. At any rate, what I'm saying is I'm back. I'm ready. Why don't you cast me?
Yes, he's back. And you did the work all along the way of, all the things that you do of becoming, of studying with Yat and um just I'd love to know, like how did you make that transformation
Well,
from
all I really wanted to do was be a stand-up, right? Um, because when I was very, very young, like, I didn't know very much, right? And so, went to a camp, right? And I saw all these camp counselors, and they went on stage and they pretended they were doing an operation, right, with somebody, right? And so they had a little curtain over their body, over the body, right? And they were doing this operation, and they would pull out, car tires and toasters and things out of their car, right? And I thought this is the most funny thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I love this. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to stand and
how old
pull.
were you?
I don't know. I was probably about 8.
Oh my God, because Tom, I had a similar situation that inspired me when I was about 12 or 14. There was an operation and and a doctor and a whole thing that also inspired me, in the realm of comedy and clowning. That's really funny.
It is odd, isn't it? Right. So one wants to go back to the purity of that. That actually can change the world. That is beautiful thing to see a time come out of an operation. I mean, it's kind of wonderful. So you asked me about the Yat work too. Is that
Yes. Yes.
well? I think we're guided in many ways, and if we listen to that guidance, we get there. I mean, why did I? I was thinking the other day, why did I actually have the nerve to go and say, "Yeah, hello, my name is Tom. I'm in this Canadian," and for him to look at me and say, "Yeah, you're going to stay. I'm going to teach you," right? And it had to do with the dream I had in Zurich and waking up next to the Jungian Institute and realizing that Jung and Yat and transformation was was all the same. But my sense of knowing that there was more. I was so fortunate to be born with curiosity. And I think born with curiosity because I didn't have a father, I didn't have a mother. I had back alleys to walk down. And so therefore I thought I was an alien and that the universe was entirely inside of me. How fortunate was that, right? How fortunate was that? So
All of our wounds
yes. So
becoming
all of that
gifts.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wounds. So what one is searching for me was never the realism, right? Now, for instance, when I was studying at Neighborhood Playhouse, right? Beautiful school, right? Sanford Meisner, all that kind of stuff, real truth, right? I was always searching for validation through mystery, for what I didn't know. I was always searching for transformation and for being able to voice that transformation and see the ability for transformation in other people. And I think that's why I left great opportunities to somehow get to England because I'd heard about this person. I had no introduction to him, right? And actually, for him to go there and for him to say he didn't teach people anymore, he taught apparently 16 people at that point privately as well as a school, and I was the last one, and I stayed. And everything that he said was of such common sense. He was in that back alley walking with me in that small prairie town called Bigger, Saskatchewan. That was that voice of saying mystery is beautiful, transformation is possible. And when I look at the world, we are how can we grow unless we are in the process of transformation? And yeah, basically gave me kind of a roadmap a way to look at an inner landscape, and a way to say that, I can do more and you can do more and all of our students can do more, than just use the things that they do well already. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's their personality. That is beautiful. But what I am interested in is what is below that personality. What are everyone, you are in me. I want your voice in me. I want to know what that negotiation is inside of me with you that will take me to understanding you. And look at the world right now. We have to understand. We have to be able to see through other people's eyes. And Yat Momgren somehow found a way to ensure the magic. So often you hear actors say, well, I've had 3 magical points in my life. Oh my gosh, right? How did that happen? The thing about the Yat work, and I think I'd like to hear what you think about the Yat work and how it's developed in YBC, is that it actually can take us to that magic. It can say that that exists. It's not going to be by chance. There is a way of getting there. And I think that is beautiful for actors, beautiful for artists. And the artist has the opportunity to actually speak with the integrity of all the world inside him, of her, of letting go of judgment, and of really being able to be surprised by what comes through him or her or them. What do you think, Alicia?
I mean, what you're saying is that's why I work with you. That's why I work with you is those magical moments of surprising myself and discovering something that I didn't know was there, and to know that there is a process that can open that space up, doing the swings with you. And it can seem like heady intellectual work to get into, but it's just, there's some little gates to unlock, and part of unlocking those gates is how we actually open into I think part of like the intellectual piece is part of knocking yourself off balance, like,
Right,
oh, what is that, and then you're not in your normal self because you don't know everything about the work and how it's understood. And that's another way that you walk into the unknown, is I don't get this. It's a funny feature of it. But yeah, and I think you know what we're talking about can there's a little bit of an insidious um thing about magic and the language of magic, and that we use these words that start to sound like buzzwords.
yeah. Mhm.
And it's like, how do you convey that we really mean it? How do we actually really express, not just hear the words because that's how we got there before, but like, how do we open the portal of the words and really know the truth of them? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And how do they know us? It's
Yeah.
like, how do they, it's like, I think so much of our world, and I mean, is in our art too, an artist, we construct, right? We build a character, we do our blocking, we learn our lines. Though that's not art. Let that come from us. Let it come from us in that deep, deep place. It's interesting too what you're talking about the swings and being off center. I was thinking, because I have a new I have a new grandson, right? I have a new grandson in Thailand, right? And William, and I'm just watching his process, and he's walking now, and it's incredible. And so we think about walking is finding balance, or is it? Or is walking actually trusting the what is not balanced, unbalanced, right?
Wow. Yeah.
We because every time you walk, you take a beautiful chance, and every time we act and we get to know somebody, we take a beautiful chance.
Oh.
That place of not being in balance and trusting the non-balance creates a balance. And we are so afraid at the moment in our world, and even how we teach or what we do or to grow up, or what I'm making sure that everything is defined and balanced. And I think that is, so that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about walking, and walking being the trust of not being in balance.
You know, I just want to say like our work together has inspired me and grown me when I'm on stage to the point where, you know, I think I had a wonderful teacher named Rob Reese for a number of years in method acting, and he really helped me expand my range. I just, I was like this, and he was like, you could go over here, you could go over here, and like just the stretching me and pulling me and opening me, and then like, okay, I've got this note and this note and this note, and like all these notes, and wow, I'm so much more than I thought. And then working with you, like, I think there's still just this very base, he used to call it basic trust. He did diamond heart work. And so there's a basic trust that some people have if they're not so wounded. And I don't have that basic trust,
Yeah, I know.
So like, so the work with you is like developing basic trust that it's safe to let go of control and doing it in a controlled way. And so I would come out on stage and just have to be in utter control, and
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
that was controlling it to be good or controlling it to be bad. Like there was a way in which I could even control, like, I'm just gonna not rehearse, and so I know it'll be bad and I'm in control, and I know that like
I
you
know
know
this relationship is not going to work. Yeah, right.
right. But, getting to the point where, okay, I've got some things down, like my level of professionalism is at a whole other, it's like I rehearse and I know my lines, and like things are generally properly set such that I can relax and begin to open into not knowing how it's going to go, and actually let the armor of control, um, at a very subtle level, begin to dissolve. And that's, I feel like, what you've been helping me do. And I feel so far, I feel such a beginner in that space. You asked, where am I going? And to me, it's like, I feel like ultimately, it's beyond being a screw up or being a, well controlled machine to, knowing how it's going to go. And the next thing is like, how do I go into the unknown when I'm creating? And, and I see, the highest level comedians really are in that space of, I don't yet know what I'm going to say here, and I'm doing it in front of a couple hundred people.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. I think that's what I mean by walking.
Yeah.
It's and I honestly, Alicia, it's been a great. I've loved working with you. I just love working with you because I can see that you are always at that point of beginning. We are always at a point of beginning, right? And you have the ruthlessness, um, and integrity and willingness to fail as well as succeed, right? To continually examine who you are and why you are and how that can be of service. And that is so vital. And that's one of the things that I really admire about you is that, and always to find the contradiction. So when you have some of those incredible lists, right? I mean, they're shockingly accurate. Your political mind,
Mm.
right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. They're so accurate but to be able to couch those from that point of the unknown and the vulnerability is really what your talent is. So you're please always be beginning. It's like, and I think that's one of the things that, with the Yat work too. I mean, I do believe that people like Anthony Hopkins and um, the people who have come out of that school, that kind of training, are constantly, what they've got is the tools to always be at that wonderful stage of birth, you know, and to be able to have that discipline, that structure that allows them to live in the off balance. And I think that's where I hope we're going. When you look at a student, um, and you have your students, they're there and they're doing storytelling, they're doing whatever it is, and they walk out the door, right? If you had to voice what you want them to walk out of the door with, what is that?
I'd like them to walk out the door holding their story lightly.
Okay, lovely.
Like,
Yeah,
this is a this is, you know, just wearing it lightly like a linen top, you know, that this is not really who I am, but it's what I'm wearing today.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, so we're not all always carrying that huge backpack on our shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. Um, so
So, well, you had asked where I'm going. I would love to know. You said, you know, now you're finally ready to be seen again. Tell me where you're going, Mr.
okay,
Tom.
well, okay, so Tom, yeah. Oh, well, I hope this doesn't sound pompous, but it's like, oh, you know, most of my life I feel as if the only way that I can be of value and prove is by having a certain kind of disguise and making sure that I help other people, right? And I'm honored that somehow through Yat, through not just Yat, but through other people, other things, that there's something that does come through, and I do recognize. Oh, I finally recognize that is something. I'm very proud of being of service and a vehicle for that because I can, I do have the ability for some reason, finally, to leave myself alone. You know, I have been through a process of being artistic director of 5 theaters, of putting on festivals, of getting money to make things work, of doing all that kind of stuff. And I was pretty good at that. But there was a certain dishonesty in it. There was a certain, like, okay, I can do this so I can avoid myself. We're at a time where everyone is coming up with boundaries and what is appropriate, what we can say, what we can't say. um Never, we don't offend anymore, we can't do all that kind of stuff, and I actually find out a lot of that bullshit. I really do. I want to be in the world now where with whoever I am I can butt up against and we can argue and we can fight and go. I want it to be real. I want, and so now I am willing for that to be me, right? That's me. And
Yeah.
I think one of the things that is actually throwing that out is this novel that I've written that's coming out. It's called The Boy Who Was Saved by Jazz. I'll tell you something. I don't think I've ever been more truthful.
Wow.
And I'm terrified of my family reading it. But that is it, right? So where I am now is in that place of saying, oh, this is it. And even now I'm kind of nervous about saying it because I'm afraid it's going to sound selfish. Like, I know, and have carried with me. I know there's a lot of things I can't do, but that I've carried with me an incredible imagination and a kind of a love and a need and a creativity. I know that's what I am, right? I know nothing about computers, but that's what, and but now I'm stopped. I finally stopped, and it's only happened in the last year, and said, what is it at this point in my life that I need to do for myself creatively? For
Yeah.
myself creatively. What are those projects? I can bury myself with this because this is going to be good for this person. And I know I can help them. I know I've got the tools because I've been fortunate to get them, right? I can make it work for you in New York. I can make it work for you. I can make this play work, right? Because of my whole experience, but what I've trained for. Now, what about, can I make it work for myself
Yes.
in my 70s? and I'm ready. I feel that I am at the peak and at my creative prime. Who knows? I've just come out of cancer too. Who knows, right? So, as my good friend the other day said, hey, Tom, it's pretty well time that you address that. So that's where I am right now. Does that make any sense, Alicia?
Ah, it makes all the sense. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to watch. And I love the vitality that I see in you. And I
Oh,
love the clarity. And it's not arrogant at all. I think it's just, hard-earned truth. It's just here, and your willingness. I mean, how can you, I mean, we all have different ways of being in the world, but at the same time, like, when we are an example for our students of
mhm.
like, I am taking care of the part of me and giving honor and airtime to the part of me that really needs to to be in this project, that needs to create this thing. That's how we model that for our students. That's how our students know that we have something to offer, because that's what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
How do you put your art first, Tom? How do we know that you're not just kind of, okay, take everything from me, I'm of service?
Yeah, no, no, yeah, really. Altruism is not always the best. It's you can only hide behind that for so long, really. So,
Yeah,
um,
and there's a very genuine altruism that's like, there's the outer kind of, I need to be seen as being of service and people know that I'm helpful, and then there's the wound, and then underneath there's the true service that's there, right? So you're getting to that true
yeah,
service.
and what an incredible journey that is. And so, you know, here we are. I mean, you're part of the Yat-Bentley Center and what we're doing and that sort of thing. And I've been very, as you know, was very fortunate to work with Yat Momgren and watch people like, you know, Sean Connery and Tom Hardy and beautiful people who've trained there. I mean, it's the best secret in the world. Some of the best actors in the world have come out of that training, right? How does that training influence you as a teacher? Not so much me, how about me, but the work itself, the psychology of movement, the fact that everything is movement and everything's inside of you. Can you tell me basically how that's influenced your work? And also, it's interesting to note it's so specific, this work, and yet we're talking about great freedom in the unknown. The specificity allows us, I think, to enter that unknown.
Yeah. Yeah, and the work not being seen and the work falling away.
Mhm.
Um, I lead people in the swings quite often,
Yeah.
students in class, and um, one of the places that I do that is in my writing workshop. So I
Mm.
actually invite people before, we do some embodiment practice, and occasionally, I would say a quarter of the time, it's the swings. And just watching people go from, it's 5 o'clock, they're tired, they've had a day, they're sedentary, whatever, or they're not really connected with themselves. And then I say, okay, we're doing the swings, and we'll start moving, and I will, and I'm inspired by you, and I'll be kind of inviting them into a bit of the understanding, but also let go of the understanding. And we're moving our bodies, and we're moving here, and we're moving back here. And just the vitality that comes into people, and the awareness that comes into people, and the self connection, and watching, a bunch of people who don't really know what the swings are after 10 or 15 minutes just feel like renewed and refreshed and reconnected. And so, just at a bare minimum, guiding people to have that as a preparation before any creation process, not just getting on stage, but like, can you do this every day? Can you do this right before you write, so that you're writing with your whole body?
Yeah,
So that you're,
that's great.
you know,
That's great.
you know,
Yeah.
I talk a lot about, a lot of us are just writing from the neck up. Like, this is our writing. This is how much we write from. And then when we do the swings, we're in all of us. Like, oh, here's an experience. Oh, and I talk often actually about how resistant I am to swinging, because
Mhm.
reveals, it unearths so much intense stuff that I'm trying to stuff away and not feel and not look at. So I'm always like, I don't want to do it. You know, whenever you bring the swings, I'm like, no, no.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So how
I,
would you, yeah, how would you explain this
hiding,
to me? You
and then
know,
I cry. There's moments
right?
where I get dizzy, and then I cry, and then
Uh-huh.
I feel relieved and grateful, and then I feel relaxed, and I'm like, oh my God, I need this in my life. I know I need it, but you know, but I'm resisting it. Don't make me go there, and then like, please make me go there. So I imagine other people feel similarly. They might not, but when I imagine that, I think it's kind of, I see how helpful it is,
Yeah.
even
So,
just doing those things.
so if someone was listening to us here, right? Let's hope someone actually sees this, right? I'll remind Moksha, our producer. It would be really nice if somebody could see this, right? Moksha, right? They're thinking, what the heck are they? The swings? What are you talking about? The swings? We're going. What is the swing? So? Well, someone says to you, "What are you talking about? What is the swing?"
Yeah, it's so how would I describe it? Um, Finding a movement, usually sort of a gross movement, but it could be a subtle movement
Yeah,
with my body where I'm moving from one plane to another,
yeah.
exploring one polarity to from one side of a polarity to another, um, and finding an action and a release um, inside of that. And um, yeah, and that the, you know, whether it's swinging my hand out here or my pounding my foot down here, um, somewhat repetitive, uh, sloppy, not ballet kind of movement that um, that lets me know I'm in a body and gives me a lot of information about what it is to be in this body, as well as that this body doesn't end here. It's so that who I am is over here and here and is so much bigger than the me sitting on the couch.
That's great. It makes me think I want to ask everybody that question because I learn from hearing people's responses because I'm always talking about actions or everything in the body and this, we live within the action, the release, and it takes us to our resistances and it helps us celebrate what we are because it's all there and it frees us, our mind, our body, all that. I can talk like that for until I'm blue in the face, but just to hear you talk about polarity, all of that, that's really, really useful.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, having come to you and been stuck in strong and quick, you know, strong and quick and bound for most of my performance life on stage. Finding I'm accidentally other moments, but you know, not being put down for that, but just being informed and invited to cultivate the opposite polarity. Like what would it be like if you swing between, have an action and release between the strong and the light? And then from that place, you're you're well-rounded. You're a whole human and you get to have both.
That's right. Because in fact, you know, we never stop moving. We may try to stop moving, and something may try to hang on to us, to bind us, but we don't never stop moving. So it's the relationship that happens between the strong and the light that is important, right?
Yeah, the relationship
Yeah.
between
It's between all of these things, and to know that they're there. And it's, you know, it's not for those people who are listening. It's not an outer movement. It's really an inner movement because everything on the inner is revealed on the outer. Even subtly, it's there. Every single thing, the way you're nodding your head, you know, the way your lips, your shoulder, everything is revealing something, right? And I'm revealing something. And we want to be able to reveal everything because we are everything. We are everything.
yeah.
And so what this does, of this so-called swing, it frees all of these inner resources of thought, of emotion, of time, of ancestry, of memory, and of the quality of our sensing. But what it really is, and I'm understanding more of this more, is that really it is never being strong, or as you say, strong and quick. It is always, that is simply a fulcrum of movement. If we become just that, then we become stuck in the personality of who we are, and it becomes dormant. And it's beautiful to watch you acknowledge the fact that strong and quick, which is like the strong weight and the quick time in the future, um, there is nothing wrong with that. That's beautiful, and you need that in your
Yeah.
comedy for sure, right? But to know that when we experience that strong and quick, we are also experiencing everything that's behind you, all
Yeah.
of the sustained, right? And the yielding, the giving over of the world coming into you through the senses. And if we have both of that figure eight between it, what a performance that is. It's the difference between an actor, a stand-up comedian, even a sculptor, a musician. Finding what they do and just playing it over and over and over again, so we know what those notes are. And somebody who has the complexity, because we are complex, we can't ignore that, right? Of balance. I love when you word the word polarity really meant a lot to me. So yeah, it's fun, isn't it? This work.
It's really fun. Yeah, and the the strength is so much stronger when you find the lightness.
Yes.
Like
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
power is magnified
Yeah.
many, many, many times when, when we're able to find that polarity. And it seems so paradoxical, right? But it's so
Why?
fun. It's so fun.
Why
I
is
love
it that I could stretch further into the ceiling when I yield to it rather than when I go towards it? Right? Why is it that we can have a relationship that where the world now, right? Look at the world now, where it's all contrast, all forcing, it's all forcing. What happens if for 1 second you let go and you yield? Right? What happens to your audience when they're with you if for one moment they let go of what they think they know and they experience a different sensation?
what happens in a debate or a disagreement when we acknowledge how the other side is right.
Yeah, yeah. And how difficult is that for most of us?
And
Really?
how much it opens up, how much space and possibility and trust. I mean, it's kind of like we're in, being in our own fixed ways is like being in a debate with ourselves. And, we're never saying, yeah, there's maybe some lightness there. No, it's only strong, right? Like that's a way you open a disagreement with yourself, is acknowledge that there's the opposite there.
And I really wish, Alicia, in many ways, that people would let go of the idea of it being self-indulgent to explore oneself, one's psychic, who we are. Right. Some people think, well, isn't that being a self-indulgent performer, actor, whatever? To me, the work is twofold, and well, manyfold, but twofold. You to know yourself, to know what's there, and to feel the sensation of that. And it's not all beautiful. Sometimes it's painful. So what's painful? That's life. It's painful. But to know and to experience all those things within us, that is what allows us, that is what gives us the right, and that's what creates the incredible responsibility and privilege of being able to stand up as a stand-up, and me being able to direct something or act something or write something, or Mockshot being able to go and do his Netflix series, whatever it is, right? What gives us the right to do that is that we know ourselves well enough, and we are saying to that, and we know that that can come through us to create something which is truly generous and allows your audience to what? To go through and know that all of those things exist within them. Anyway, this is great. I love talking with you. I don't know. I feel as if I'm talking all the time, but what can cut me out of this? All right. I really want to stress that for those people who are working with me, who are watching this, or know something of me, that maybe it's time to step in and get involved with Alicia. She's got some amazing gifts. We all have different things. I mean, I'm working with some of the people who've worked with her. Um, Bruce, for instance, he loves working with you. He's been working with me for 4 years too, but he keeps, because he's gaining so much. I think there's such a wonderful parallel and complementary energy between what you do and what I do. So I'm really saying, tell us what's up. Tell us, like, right now, how can someone get involved with what you're doing? We're going into the sales pitch.
Yes, well, I'm really bringing my biggest offering yet, and it's called Speak Your Medicine, and it's a 6 month journey for people to discover their medicine story, which is the story of their life, or the story that they want to tell that conveys um, the gift in the wound. You know, here's what was hard, and here's what I learned, and here's the medicine that I found in the world, that I want to share with the world. And so I'm really excited to share that. And it starts in November, and um, I'm thrilled to be really having this kind of be next level, having led solo performance and comedy workshops before. This is really a workshop for people who want to either use this work as a launching pad for solo performance, theater, comedy career, to use it, or just explore like their self-expression, or use it um, to share about their work as a coach or a healer, and say, like, look, I'm bringing these gifts into the world, and only a few people know about them because I work one-on-one, and now I'm ready to let the world know in a bigger way. Or people who want to actually be speakers and want to
Yeah.
bring, their wisdom to the world as speakers. So
Well, I don't
um
know anybody who's been through any work with you who isn't incredibly enthusiastic. And what are they enthusiastic about? I mean, they talk about being enthusiastic about you, but in actual fact, and they are, no, but they're enthusiastic about themselves. I am enthusiastic about what I am, what my story is. And I think that's one of the things that they really get. So, I would love to see I would love to see all kinds of people go and work with you. And here I am in San Francisco, and I'm starting to teach in LA too, which is going to be fun. So if
yeah, and
anyone,
I'd love to hear, what you're creating, and you're bringing your work both in San Francisco and LA now. And if it hasn't been obvious over the past hour, I highly, highly recommend you as, just a deep seer and a deep space holder, for someone who, anyone who is ready to step into, at any level, amateur, professional, but to really explore who you are and who you want to be on stage. So, do you want to share about what
well,
you're?
basically, you said that's what we do. That's where it is. And also, I mean, the producer of this mock shot is also the international director of development for YBC, and we're also taking the work to other countries and places too, which is fantastic. Is Yeah, I feel that one of the reasons that we are coming to Los Angeles um, is, well, there's a lot of artists there, but it also works for other people. Is that there's great teachers there, right? But there's a lot of emphasis on getting jobs, on how to sell yourself, how to do good auditions, right? How to survive the industry,
Like, yeah,
how to know the right people, and all of this is very good. I
yeah,
do think that one of the well, that actually, if that's the major priority, I'm probably not the right person to study. One of the things I feel is necessary within to balance that, and as I said, I'm not in any way putting it down, is where do you find that untouchable process of creation that you can always have in any circumstance
Yeah.
within yourself, and you know that you can grow. And it seems to me as if that is the thing. It doesn't have to be the Yat work or the Tom work. But I really think it's wonderful if you can find the work that, so that the work is the most important thing, that the communicating with the audience is the most important thing. We're so entrapped in trying to please people. I mean, we want to please the director, we want to please the students, we want to please this, we want to please that, we want to please producers.
Pleasing people and making money. Yeah. It's
Making
all,
money. But
all
and it's very hard after a while in that kind of situation. And people feel that's the right thing to do, you know, really, you've got to know about that. But after a while, that can be very unfulfilling and exhausting.
yeah.
If you know, so basically what this work is saying, hi, let's celebrate what you know, but here's a way, and you know, it's going to be very hard work of actually finding the means to transform and to know that it's inside of you, and to come from a deep place of deep, deep truth, and yet be unrecognizable. So it's like the best of what it has been, maybe not now in America, and what it has been in British, and you know that there's something that you can have this, and it can belong to you. It's yours. I don't like it when people would say, "Oh well, you know, I'm a student of Tom, so I do the Tom or the Yat technique." No, no, no. It's yours. It's yours right from the very beginning. It's yours. It's not.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So I'm starting actually this weekend, coming down to Los Angeles for a period of a week. You know, use almost every month to sort of start taking people through the work. So you can always contact us. Actually, hopefully, at the end of this, we'll have some sort of this is how you contact Alicia. This is how you contact Tom. This is how you make sure you never see them ever again in your entire life.
Well, people can find my website at soloshowdown.com, and I believe your website is Yat-Bentley Center. Is
Yeah,
that accurate?
simply
Yat-Bentley.com.
Yat-Bentley.com. Yep, yep.
And
We
if
can
you
put
don't ever want to hear from us, then don't go to those websites.
it. That's right. We'll see you in the grocery store. Just have lovely lives, everybody. Okay. Alicia, thank you for this.
Thank you, Tom.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye. Moksha, are you there?
Yes, you need to stop recording, Tom.
Oh, I have to stop recording. Hello. Okay.